You know how that app on your phone gets updates so quickly, fixing bugs or adding new features almost overnight? Well, let me tell you, it wasn't always like this. Not too long ago, a simple update could get stuck in this frustrating 10-day-long traffic jam. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the solution that broke that gridlock: DevOps.
All right, here's the game plan. We'll start by looking at that whole 10-day problem, just so you can feel the pain and understand why a change was so badly needed. Then, we'll get into what DevOps really is, a new culture, and the 4 pillars holding it up. After that, we'll see how it shakes up the software lifecycle, and we'll finish by zooming in on what a DevOps engineer actually does all day.
So, to really get why DevOps is such a game changer, we have to hop in a time machine. Let's go back about 10 years, to a world before this was the norm. A world filled with manual work and a lot, and I mean a lot, of waiting around.
So think about this for a second. A developer finishes writing some awesome new code for a feature. How long do you think it took for that feature to actually get to you, the user? The answer? Well, it might just surprise you. Back then, a 10-day process was considered pretty standard. Sometimes it was even weeks or months. So on day 1, the developer's done, right? But then, nothing happens for 2 days while someone gets a server ready. Then 2 more days just to get the app on there for testing. Testing itself takes 3 days. And finally, on day 10, it goes live. It was like this slow, painful relay race where every handoff took forever.
So what was the big holdup? It really boiled down to 2 things: a ton of manual effort and these siloed teams. Every single step we just saw was done by hand, by a different person on a different team. And those teams didn't really talk to each other. Just passing the work from one person to the next created this massive bottleneck.
And check this out. This shows you just how fragmented it was. You had a system administrator to literally build the server. Then, a server administrator had to come in and set up the right software. After that, a build and release engineer would finally deploy the code. And at the end of it all, a tester would manually click around to see if anything broke. 4 different people, 4 different handoffs for just one tiny update. Crazy, right?
Okay, so this slow, disjointed process was obviously broken. It was crying out for a new way of thinking, a totally new way of working together. And that's where DevOps comes into the picture. It's the elegant solution to this whole mess.
So what is it really? Well, at its heart, and this is the most important part, DevOps isn't a tool you can buy or a specific job title. It's a culture. It's a fundamental shift in how a company operates, all with one simple goal: get better at delivering applications and do it way, way faster.
This quote right here, it says it all. The mission, the entire purpose, is to hunt down every single manual step in that 10-day process we talked about and just eliminate it. Replace it with automation. If a human has to click a button or run a command, the job isn't done yet.
Now, I know saying it's a culture can sound a little bit fluffy, a little abstract, but this culture is actually built on a really solid foundation. So let's look at the 4 concrete pillars that hold up the entire practice of DevOps.
These are the big 4: automation, quality, monitoring, and testing. And you can think of them like gears in a machine. You can't just have one. They all have to be turning together to build a real DevOps culture. Let's break them down real quick.
First up, automation. This is the engine of the whole thing. It's all about taking those human tasks, like creating servers, deploying code, running tests, and turning them into scripts that run in seconds, not days. And they run exactly the same way every single time. But look, speed is absolutely useless if you're just shipping garbage faster. That's why quality is the second pillar. It's about building checks and balances right into that automated process to make sure the software is stable, it's secure, and it performs like it's supposed to. Okay, so your automated, high-quality code is now live. Great, but how do you know it's actually working out there in the wild? That's where monitoring comes in. This pillar is all about having a constant feedback loop from your live systems so you can catch problems, a lot of times before users even notice anything is wrong. You'll also hear this called observability these days. It's pretty much the same idea.
And finally, we have testing. This is the pillar that really validates all the others. It's not about one person testing at the very end anymore. No, this is about running automated tests all the time, at every single stage, to prove that the code is solid and the automation is working perfectly.
Okay, so we've got our 4 pillars, we know what they are, but where do they actually apply? To understand that, we need to take a quick peek at the standard process for building software, which is known as the Software Development Lifecycle. The SDLC is basically the industry's recipe book. It's the blueprint that every company, from a tiny startup to a giant like Google, follows to take an idea and turn it into a high-quality product that people can actually use.
At a high level, it has 5 main phases. You start with planning what you're going to build. Then you design how you're going to build it. Next up is the actual building, the coding. After that, you test it to make sure it's not broken, and finally, you deploy it out to your customers.
And here's where it all clicks. A DevOps engineer doesn't really focus on the initial planning or the design. Their world, their main focus, is to create an automated superhighway for those last 3 phases, taking the finished code, building it, running all the tests against it, and then deploying it to the world, all without a single person having to intervene.
So let's bring this all home and look at the absolutely massive impact this has. This is where we really see the transformation from a process that took weeks to one that can be over and done in just a matter of minutes.
So let's just do a quick side-by-side. The then was a manual process. Now it's automated. Then you had all these siloed teams that barely talked. Now you have one integrated culture pushing for the same goal. And the result? We went from slow deliveries measured in days or weeks to lightning-fast deliveries measured in hours or even minutes.
And this is the real, tangible goal. If a company hires a DevOps engineer, the mission is crystal clear. Take our current 2-week delivery cycle and shrink it. Cut it in half. And when you've done that, cut it in half again. The goal is always continuous, relentless improvement in speed and efficiency.
And that brings us right back to the most important point of all. It's not about learning one tool and then you're done. It's a mindset. It's about constantly being on the lookout for better ways of doing things, better tools, better processes. You're not just automating a few tasks. You are literally building a culture of efficiency inside your organization.
So I'll leave you with the core question that drives the entire world of DevOps. If your delivery process takes 2 weeks, how could you shrink it to 1? See, it's not just about what DevOps is, but what it pushes you to do. By starting to look for those manual steps, those handoffs, those bottlenecks, you can begin to see how a culture of automation can completely change how fast you can deliver value to your users.